It's been nearly 1 year since Far Cry 6 was announced, and almost as long since we learned anything new about the game. We're already several months past the original February 18th release date, and the leaked May 25th date is surely wrong by now, with a continued complete lack of marketing for the game. However, E3 2021 has been announced for June this year, and Ubisoft will be holding their portion of the conference on Saturday, June 12th. We can reasonably expect Far Cry 6 to be one of the primary games featured here, so we might finally learn something new about this game 11 months after it was officially announced. With that to look forward to, I want to talk about when I think the game will be releasing and why it's been delayed this long. I expect Far Cry 6 to be a fall release this year. The October-November season is the most popular time of year for games to release, and that would put the release 9 to 10 months behind the original release date, which is honestly much longer than I thought the game would be delayed. Assuming my prediction here is correct, a fall release date has a few implications that are worth discussing. Firstly, the fall 2021 season will mark the 1 year point since the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 released. That means they will likely go on sale for Black Friday and Christmas, and Microsoft and Sony are undoubtedly preparing as much supply as they can possibly produce to be sold during this time of the year. For Far Cry 6, this means a next-gen only console release is much more palatable from a business perspective than it would have been if the game released in February. Personally, I think restricting Far Cry 6 only to the next-gen consoles would ultimately be the right move to make, as it gives the developers more freedom to push the limits of the software and make a more beautiful, more complete game. I know that will make some people unhappy, including a number of my viewers, but I only want what's best for this game in the long run. The greater capacity of the next-gen consoles opens up a world of possibilities for Far Cry 6 that will likely be unavailable if it has to cope with the limitations of the older generation. However, nothing's changed on any of the sales listings for Far Cry 6. Ubisoft's website still says it will be available for Xbox One and PS4, so I somewhat doubt a next-gen only release will happen. Secondly, a fall release raises questions about why Far Cry 6 needed to be delayed for this long. As I mentioned, there was a leaked May 25th release date that seemed credible for a time. The stated reason for the delay was that development had been slowed by the requirements of remote work due to COVID-19, but I think something else might be going on. Perhaps the developers thought they could get the game done by May 25th, but then certain design decisions caused them to push the date back further. To me, a delay of this length suggests that there may have been a change in the developer's vision for the game, but I don't know what that could be. If it's a reappraisal of Far Cry's roots, such as the developers going back to Far Cry 2 and looking at what might have worked well in that game that hasn't been brought back to the series since, that could be a very good thing for Far Cry 6. That's pure speculation on my part, though, and the cause of this extended delay could be any number of things. Whatever the case, I would rather the developers take their time and polish the game instead of rushing the release and producing a Cyberpunk 2077 situation. Speaking of Far Cry 2, one more thing worth mentioning is that the official Far Cry Twitter account tweeted a throwback event in February that included a livestream of some Ubisoft people playing that game. I hope this hints toward a remaster bundled with Far Cry 6, similar to the way that the Far Cry 3 Classic Edition was included with pre-orders of Far Cry 5. Far Cry 2 certainly deserves it, especially since its multiplayer servers are being shut down later this year. That's all I have about Far Cry 6 for now. I'll be looking forward to E3 in June, and I will be covering any news we get as quickly as possible, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of the details. In the meantime, especially if you're already a subscriber, please read the pinned comment on this video to know more about my upcoming plans. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.